Right now, you're warm. And you didn't even think about it. The heat just runs, there's a blanket on your bed, there's food in your kitchen, there's glass between you and the wind outside. Now take all of that away. Not slowly, all at once. Just your skin, just the dark, just cold so deep it gets inside your bones before you even realize it's killing you. That used to be Tuesday. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors woke up every single winter morning not knowing if they'd survive until spring. No thermostat, no stored food, no guarantee. And here's what nobody tells you. By every biological measure, they shouldn't have made it. We are a tropical species, built for heat, built for warm African nights. We have no fur, no hibernation, no natural insulation. A human being stripped bare in real prehistoric winter has maybe 3 hours before the body starts shutting down. 3 hours. But every single one of your ancestors survived. Which means somewhere in that brutal, freezing darkness, they figured something out. And what they figured out is one of the greatest survival stories in human history.
Act 1. Winter. What they were actually facing. Because when most people hear Ice Age, they picture something almost manageable. Fur coats, a fire, community. Primitive, but somehow coping. That picture is not wrong. It is just dangerously incomplete. The last Ice Age peaked around 26,000 years ago. Ice sheets covered Europe, Asia, and North America. The land was flat, frozen, completely open, nothing to stop the wind. Temperatures dropped to -30, -40 degrees Celsius. Food vanished for months. Animals migrated or hibernated. Water froze solid. And humans, soft, hairless, tropical humans, were standing in the middle of it. Every animal around them was built for that world. Mammoths had thick fur and layers of fat. Cave bears hibernated for months. Reindeer simply walked south. Humans had none of that. On paper, we were the most fragile thing alive in that environment. So what saved us? Not one thing. Never just one thing. It was a whole system. Each solution fixing a problem that would have killed them. Built over thousands of years, passed down through generations who survived so their children could do it slightly better.
Everything starts with fire. Humans had been using fire for at least 300,000 years, but by the time the cold became truly lethal, fire wasn't a tool anymore. It was the line between existing and not existing. When archaeologists dug up Ice Age fire pits in Ukraine, they expected basic survival fires. What they found stopped them completely. Carefully engineered fireplaces, deliberately constructed. One burned at over 600 degrees Celsius, hotter than 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. These weren't accidents. These were people who understood fire. When wood became scarce on the open frozen land, they burned fat, they burned bone. They used every possible fuel because they understood, in their bones, what happened if it went out. Fire gave them heat, cooked their food, pushed predators back into darkness, but most importantly, it gave them light. Before fire, when the sun set in winter, which happened brutally early, you stayed completely still until morning, paralyzed by darkness for 15, 16 hours a day. Fire gave those hours back, and in a winter trying to kill you, extra hours weren't comfort, they were survival.
But fire has one fatal problem. You can't take it with you. Step away from the flame, and the cold is waiting. Patient, absolute. So humans did something no other species has ever done. They took the warmth off other animals and put it on themselves. And here's something that stopped researchers cold. People were skinning bears for fur in northern Europe at least 300,000 years ago. We know because of cut marks. precise, deliberate marks on bare paw bones, exactly where you'd cut to pull a skin off cleanly. This was technique. This was knowledge passed down through generations. But a loose skin leaks heat through every gap. In a -40 wind, a loose fur is barely better than nothing. The real breakthrough came around 30,000 years ago, and it's so small it sounds almost ridiculous. The needle. A thin sliver of bone, a tiny hole drilled through one end. One scientist called it possibly the most important invention in human history, because the needle meant fitted clothing, sealed seams, layers, boots that actually fit the foot. There is an enormous difference between a blanket on your shoulders and a coat built for your body. The needle is what turned one into the other. Suddenly, humans could engineer warmth, not just find it, build it.
Everyone pictures ancient humans in caves. The reality is far more interesting. Out on the frozen plains of Ukraine and Russia, where there were no caves and barely any trees, ancient humans looked at what was lying around them: mammoth bones. At a site called Mezerish, archaeologists found circular houses built almost entirely from mammoth bones and tusks. Skulls and leg bones formed the base. Ribs and tusks curved upward as the frame. Hundreds of bones in a single structure. The largest is 18,000 years old, built at the peak of the Ice Age. And the site shows repeated use, the same location returned to again and again over hundreds of years. These were not temporary shelters. These were homes. And the design inside reveals something remarkable. Many structures had a deliberately lowered entrance, a cold trap. Cold air is heavy. It sinks. By making the doorway lower than the living space, cold air pooled at the entrance and stayed there, while warm air rose to where the family slept. They understood thermodynamics tens of thousands of years before the word existed.
Act 5. Food and each other. Staying warm keeps you alive tonight. Hunger is the slower killer. For months in deep winter, there was almost nothing to gather, and the human body, burning enormous extra calories just to stay warm, needs more food in winter, not less. So they planned ahead. When big kills happened, they saved everything. Meat smoked over fire, dried into preserved strips, buried in frozen ground, a natural freezer that never needed power. There is evidence of ancient humans sinking mammoth meat into cold ponds to preserve it longer. They wasted nothing. Every bone cracked for marrow, every organ consumed, nothing discarded that could be eaten. But here's the part that mattered most. Here's what actually saved them: each other. Body heat is real, measurable, and critical. Pack enough people together in an enclosed space, and the collective warmth of living bodies makes the difference between surviving the night and not. The person sleeping alone in winter wasn't independent. They were exposed. It was consistently the isolated, the elderly without family, the injured who had separated from their group who died first when temperatures dropped. The ones who survived stayed together. Not out of sentiment, out of physics.
Right now, you're warm. The heat runs, the food is there, the glass holds back the wind. And somewhere deep in your biology, your body still knows what cold means, still carries the memory of what it cost, the instinct to stay close to people when things feel uncertain, the irrational comfort of a flame, even now, even when you don't need it. These aren't random quirks. They are the inheritance of every winter your ancestors survived. Every single one of them made it through the fire, through the hunger, through the absolute darkness. They made it long enough to pass life forward to you. You are the proof that it worked. But here's the thought that stays. They survived winter by staying close, by sharing warmth, by making sure no one in the group faced the cold alone. We solved winter so completely that we forgot that lesson. We have central heating now, insulated walls, grocery stores, delivery apps. We are warmer than any human being in history. And somehow, we have never been more alone.